I mostly read public domain books here on Glenn Reads Books to You, and they were written a long time ago, so they're usually racist, or sexist, or bigoted, but in there somewhere is a story, and that's why those stories are famous. Other times, I read works from independent authors, and they're delightfully not racist, but they might have adult language or adult situations, like, making sex. So that's your warning, but I'm sure you're grown up enough to handle it. Don't write to me complaining. Mankato? Who the hell in Mankato is listening? Oh, god damn it. Oh, you found me. Hi. Yeah, go ahead, take a seat here in the visiting chair. I got a really bad cold after coming back from Ottawa, Canada, to see my kid. And so now I'm here in the hospital. It's real bad. But I thought I could still read this book since you're here. But I was just looking at my stats from my podcast, and I see that there's a lot from Vietnam. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, some kind of bot sucking up all my information, probably stealing all my episodes and reselling them on compact discs or something. But it's from all over the country in Vietnam. Why? I don't know. Brazil? There's a lot in Brazil. Don't know what's going on. What hospital in what country am I in? Okay, well, anyways, I was looking through my stats. I'm like, oh, for some reason, things are really picking up in countries around the world, and I don't know why. I'm not doing anything different. And then all of a sudden, I saw one from Mankato, Minnesota. I live in Minnesota here with my cold in this hospital, but, I don't actually, I know of Mankato, but I don't know anyone in Mankato. Whenever you see stats from Minnesota, it's like, it's just people I know. But, like St. Paul, probably, I don't know, someone there's listening. Minneapolis, sure, why not? But then all of a sudden you get to Mankato. Who the hell in Mankato found me? And why are they listening to me? Who are you? Is it Mr. Moonbounce? It probably is. As I said, I actually have a real cold. So this episode's going to be pretty boring here in the hospital. Do you want me to read some fun facts that I stole from BrontéBabeblog.wordpress.com? Sure, why not? Oh, I should probably tell you about the author. We're reading Jane Eyre. By Charlotte Brontë, born April 21st, 1816, and died March 31st, 1855, at the age of 38, from corpse water that she drank by accident. The Brontës the family had a whole saga that they all wrote together, and I'm dying to read it, but it's not available. Although the Brontë sisters are mainly remembered for their adult novels, they, along with Branwell, began writing as children, creating the worlds of Glasstown, Angria, and Gondal. The children's literary games began in 1826 when Patrick presented Branwell with a gift of 12 toy soldiers. Anne and Emily... they called it the Young Men's Play. Anne and Emily broke away to form their own world of Gondal in 1831. Unfortunately, very little survives of their saga, other than a few poems and a handful of references and incomplete character lists in their diary papers. Oh, the heart's really fluctuating. Charlotte and Branwell continued to write both collaboratively and independently, using characters from Glasstown, leading to the development of their saga and the creation of Angria in 1834. I don't feel so good. I'm flatlining, and that means we should read this story. Well, there you are. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You just sat there the whole time in the visiting chair next to my bed. Why don't we get into this story with my horrible cold? Chapter 14. For several subsequent days, I saw little of Mr. Rochester. In the mornings, he seemed much engaged with business, and in the afternoon, gentlemen from Millicote, or the neighborhood called, and sometimes stayed to dine with him. When his sprain was well enough to admit of a horse exercise, he rode out a good deal. This guy's just there, saying that all the time. Probably to return these visits, as he generally did not come back till late at night. During this interval, even Adele was seldom sent for his presidents, and all my acquaintance with him was confined to an occasional rencontre in the hall, and of the stairs or in the gallery, when he would sometimes pass me haughtily and coldly, just acknowledging my presence by a distant nod, or a real cool glance, and sometimes bow and smile with gentlemanlike affability. His changes of mood did not offend me, because I saw that I had nothing to do with their alteration. The ebb and flow. Oh, it's just a relief to hear my heart sound good. It's just average sounding. The ebb and flow depended on causes quite disconnected with me. One day he had, I hate it when people do that in books, company to dinner, and he had sent for my portfolio in order, doubtless, to exhibit its contents. The gentleman went away early to attend to a public meeting at Millicote, as Mr. and Mrs. Fairfax informed me, but the night being wet and inclement, Mr. Rochester did not accompany them. Soon after they were gone, he rang the bell. A message came that I and Adele were to go downstairs. Oh, my God. So the paragraph starts with, one day we had a company to dinner, comma, and we went to a portfolio, semicolon, in order, comma, doubtless, comma, to exhibit its contents, colon. The gentleman went away early, comma, to attend a public meeting at Millicote, comma, as Mrs. Fairfax informed me, semicolon. But the night being wet and inclement, comma, Mr. Rochester did not accompany them, period. Oh, I missed the period. I thought it just kept going. But then soon after they were gone, he rang the bell, colon. A message came that I and Adele were to go downstairs, period. That's why I thought it stopped. It's still pretty bad. That is a lot of punctuation when you could just add periods. I'm in a hospital. I don't feel good. And I think I have a fever. I brushed Adele's hair. That made her neat. And having ascertained that I was myself in my usual Quaker trim, where there was nothing to retouch, all being too close and plain, braided locks included, to admit of discouragement, we descended. Adele wondering whether the petit coiffure, I'm not saying that right because it's more French. Why is there so much French in this book? Oh, God, I'm too sick for this stuff. Was at length come, for, owing to some mistake, its arrival had hitherto been delayed. She was gratified. There it stood, a little carton on the table, and when we entered the dining room, she appeared to know it by instinct. "Ma boit! Ma boit!" exclaimed she, running towards it. "Yes, there is your, quote, boit, unquote, at last. Take it. Hey, take it into a corner, you genuine daughter of Paris, and amuse yourself with disemboweling it," said the deep and rather sarcastic voice of Mr. Rochester, proceeding from the depths of an immense easy chair at the fireside. "And mind," he continued, "don't bother me with any details of anatomical process or any notice of the condition of the entrails. Let your operation be conducted in silence." This guy sucks. Yeah, oh. It's like the one guy that doesn't speak English in this whole hospital, just shouting. "Tiens toi tranquille, enfant, comprends tu?" Adele seemed scarcely to need the warning. She had already retired to a sofa with her treasure, and was busy untying a cord which secured the lid, having removed this impediment, and lifted certain silvery envelopes of tissue paper. She merely exclaimed, "Oh, seal! Qui c'est beau?" and then remained absorbed in an ecstatic compilation. "Is, Miss Eyre there?" now demanded the master, half rising from his seat to look around the door, near which I still stood. "Ah, well, come forward. Be seated here." He drew a chair near his own. "I am not fond of the prattle of children," he continued, "for an old bachelor as I am, I have no pleasant associations connected with their lisp. It would be intolerable to pass a whole evening tete-a-tete with a brat. Don't draw that chair further off, Miss Eyre. Sit down exactly where I placed it, if you please. That is, confound these civilities. I continually forget them. Nor do I particularly affect simple-minded old ladies. By the by, I have mine in mind. And I won't do to neglect her. She is a Fairfax, or wed to one, and blood is said to be thicker than water. Well, he rang and dispatched an invitation to Mrs. Fairfax, who soon arrived, knitting basket in hand. Good evening, madam. I sent to you for a charitable purpose. I have forbidden Adele to talk to me about her presence, and she is bursting with completion. Have the goodness to serve her as auditress and interlocuteur. I'm not looking it up. It will be one of the most benevolent acts you have ever performed. Adele indeed no sooner saw Miss Fairfax than she summoned her to her sofa. Oh, God, I feel like human garbage. Just human garbage. And then she summoned her to her sofa, and then quickly filled her lap with the porcelain, the ivory, the waxen contents of her boy. Pouring out, meantime, explanations of raptures in such broken English as was the mistress of. Now I have performed the part of a good host, pursued Miss Rochester. Put my guests in the way of amusing each other. I ought to be at liberty to attend to my own pleasure. Miss Eyre, draw your chair a little further forward. I love that Jane Eyre is constantly sliding away from him because he's a horrible pile of shit. And he keeps like, get closer to me. Why you pulling away? Get closer to me. Get your knees closer to me. Miss Eyre, draw your chair still a little further forward. You are yet too far back. Oh, I cannot see you without disturbing my position in this comfortable chair, which I have no mind to do, as I did as I was bid, though I would much rather have remained somewhat in the shade. But Mr. Rochester, it seemed a matter of course to obey him promptly. We were, as I have said, in the dining room. The lustre, which had been lit for dinner, filled the room with a festal breath of light. Okay, and the large fire was all red and clear. The purple curtains hung rich and ample before the lofty window and the loftier arch. Everything was still, save for the subdued chat of Adele. Oh, she dared not speak aloud, and filling up with each pause, the beating of winter rain against the panes. Mr. Rochester, as he sat in his damask-covered chair, looked different to what I had seen him look before. Not quite so stern, much less gloomy. Did you bring the White Claws, by the way, that I asked you? You know I'd love to drink my White Claws. Did you bring one? You did? Oh, no, thank you. Oh, that's nice. Oh, God. Oh, thank you. You're an angel, huh? You're one of God's little angels. You brought me a White Claw here in the hospital. I hope you brought like 20 more. I plan to get fucked up because it's Saturday night. But the beater ran against the pace. Mr. Rochester, as he sat in the mask-covered chair, looked different than what I had seen him look before. Not quite so stern, much less gloomy. There was a smile on his lips. Oh, and his eyes sparkled. Whether with wine or not, I'm not sure, but I think it very probable. Oh, he was, in short, in his after-dinner mood, more expanded and genteel. Hold on. There we go. And also more self-indulgent, White Claw, than the frigid and rigid temperature of the morning. Oh, he still looked preciously grim, cushioning his massive head against the swiveling back of the chair and receiving the light of the fire in his granite-hewn features and his great dark eyes. For he had great dark eyes, and very fine eyes too, but not without a certain change in their depth sometimes, which it was not softness, remind you, at least, of that feeling. He had been looking 2 minutes at the fire, and I had been looking at the same length of time at him, when, turning suddenly, he caught my gaze and fastened on my physiognomy. Ah, you examine me, Miss Eyre, said he. Do you think me handsome? I should, if I had deliberated, have replied this question by something conveniently vague and polite, but the answer somehow slipped from my tongue before I was aware. No, sir. By my word. There is something singular about you, said he. You have the air of a little nunette, quaint, quiet, grave, and simple, as you sit with your hands before you and your eyes generally bent on the carpet, except, by the by, when they are directed piercingly to my face, just as now, for instance, and when one asks you a question or makes a remark to which you are obliged to reply, you rap out round a rejoinder, which, if not blunt, is at least brusque. What do you mean by it? Sir, I was too plain. I beg your pardon. I ought to have replied that it was not easy to give an impromptu answer to a question about appearances. Oh, that tastes mostly different, and that beauty is of little consequence, or something of that sort. You ought to reply to no such thing. Beauties of little consequence indeed. And so, under pretense of softening the previous outrage of stroking and soothing me into placidity, you stick a slight penknife under my ear. Oh, go on. What fault do you find with me, pray? I suppose I have all my limbs and all my features like any other man. Well, according to this author, he's got a giant forehead and a long, skinny nose. Mr. Rochester, allow me to disown my first answer. I intended no pointed repartee. It was only a blunder. Well, just so. I think so, and you shall be answerable to it. Criticize me. Does my forehead not please you? What's with the foreheads in this book? It's always about foreheads all the time. He lifted up the stable waves of hair which lay horizontally over his brow and showed a solid enough mass of intellectual organs. He's showing his forehead, but an abrupt deficiency where the suave sign of benevolence should have risen. Now, ma'am, am I a fool? Far from it, sir. You would, perhaps, think me rude if I inquired to return whether you are a philanthropist. Oh, there again, another stick in the penknife when she pretended to pat my head, and that is because I said I did not like society of children and of old women. Low it be spoken. No, young lady, I am not a general philanthropist, but I bear conscience. And he pointed to the promises, which are said to indicate that facility, and which, fortunately to him, were sufficiently conspicuous, giving indeed a marked breadth to the upper part of his head. And besides, I once had a kind of rude tenderness of heart. When I was as old as you, I was a feeling fellow enough, partial to the unfledged, unfostered, and unlucky. But fortune has knocked me about since, and even kneaded me with her knuckles. And now I flatter myself I am hard and tough as an Indian rubber ball. Previous, though a chink or two still, and with one sentient point in the middle of the lump. Yes, does that leave hope for me? Hope of what, sir? Of my final retransformation from Indian rubber back to flesh? I decided he's had too much wine, I thought, and I did not know what answer I could make of his queer question. How could I tell whether he was capable of being retransformed? You look very much puzzled, Miss Eyre. And though you are not pretty any more than I am handsome, yet a puzzled air becomes you because, besides, it is convenient, for it keeps those searching eyes of yours away from my physiognomy, and busies them with the worsted flowers of the rug. So puzzle on, young lady. I am disposed to be gregarious and communicative tonight. With this announcement, he rose from his chair and stood, leaning his arm on the marble mantelpiece in that attitude of shape as was seen plainly as well as his face, his unusual breadth of chest, disproportionate almost to the length of his limb, and I am most sure the people would have thought him an ugly man, yet there was so much unconscious pride in his port. So much ease in his demeanor, such a look of complete indifference to his own external appearance, so haughty a reliance on the power of the other qualities, intrinsic and advantageous, to atone for the lack of mere personal attractiveness that in looking at him, one inevitably shared the indifference, and even in a blind and perfect sense, put faith in the confidence. I am disposed to be gregarious and communicative tonight, he repeated, and that is why I sent for you. The fire and the chandelier were not sufficient company for me, nor would Pliant have been. For none of these can talk. Adele is a degree better, but still far below the mark. Mrs. Fairfax, ditto. You, I am persuaded, can suit me if you will. You puzzled me the first evening I invited you down here. I have almost forgotten you since. Other ideas have driven yours from my head. But tonight, I am resolved to be at ease, to dismiss what importunes, and recall what pleases. It would please me now to draw you out, to learn more of you. Therefore, speak. Well, instead of speaking, I smiled. Not a very complacent, submissive smile either. Speak, he urged. Oh, God, what about? Whatever you like. I leave both the choice of subject and the manner of treating its entirety to yourself. Accordingly, I sat and said nothing. If he expects me to talk for the mere sake of talking and showing off, he will find he has addressed himself to the wrong person, I thought. You are dumb, Miss Eyre. Well, I was dumb still. He bent his head a little towards me, his giant forehead, and with a single hasty glance seemed to dive into my eyes. Stubborn, he said, and annoyed. Ah, it is consistent. I put my request in the absurd, almost insolent form, Miss Eyre. I beg your pardon. And the fact is, once and for all, I don't wish to treat you like an inferior. That is, correcting himself, I claim only such superiority as much result from 20 years difference in age and a century's advance in experience. This is legitimate teens, as Adele would say, and it is by its virtue and its superiority, and this alone, that I desire you to have the goodness to talk to me a little now, and to divert my thoughts, which are galled with dwelling on one point, cankering as a rusty nail. He had deigned an explanation, almost an apology, and I did not feel insensible to his condescension, and he would not seem so. I'm willing to amuse you, if I can, sir. Quite willing, but I cannot introduce a topic, because how do I know will interest you? Ask me questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Then, in the first place, do you agree with me that I have a right to be a little masterful abrupt? Perhaps extracting, sometimes, on the grounds I stated, namely, that I am old enough to be your father. Oh, she's going to get with this guy? And that I have battled through a varied experience with many men of many nations and roamed over half the globe, huh? And while you have lived quietly with one set of people in one house, do as you please, sir. That is no answer, or rather, it is a very irritating, because a very evasive one. Reply clearly. I don't think, sir, you have a right to command me merely because you are older than I, because you have seen more of the world than I have. Your claim to superiority depends on the use you have made of your time and experience. Humph, promptly spoken. But I won't allow that, seeing that it would never suit my case, as I have made an indifferent, not to say bad, use of both advantages. Leaving superiority out of the question, then you must still agree to receive my orders now and then without being piqued or hurt by the tone of command. Will you? Oh, God, this conversation between the two is terrible.
You hit your call bell?
Nope. I don't hit, where is even that?
It's on the remote control that you're holding.
The one for the TV?
Yeah, it's the big red button on the top.
Oh, I thought that was going to mute the television.
You gotta go piss or something?
I do gotta go piss a little bit. What are you doing there?
Hang on one second.
What the hell is that?
A little bit of weed.
You got a little pinch pipe, huh?
Yeah, it's okay. It's legal.
You doing that here in the hospital? You're supposed to care for me and you're getting high? Oh.
Is that a White Claw?
Yeah, my friend brought a White Claw in.
I thought they were stacking them at the cafeteria. No?
Do they have more?
It's from the outside. Well, no. That's why I was asking you.
Oh, this kid jocked it in his pants. I only got one White Claw. Is there any chance to give me more White Claws? You seem real cool.
Do you think he'll get me a White Claw? They don't got them here, dude. You want to go piss? Let's go piss.
Are we gonna go piss? All right, fine. Let's go piss. You're still smoking.
Just one more. You're fine.
Well, you keep manhandling me, get me in this room. All right, fine.
Yeah, just I can hold on to you, but I don't want you to hold on to me because you probably got poop under your fingernails.
I don't have poop under my face. It's fine. It wouldn't hurt if while I sit here and pee that I can read about the latest upcoming book from Penguin Random House. Can you hold my phallus while I urinate?
Sir, you do have the worst cold I've ever seen, but no, I will not hold your phallus. I will stand right here if you need anything.
All right, fine. Can you at least are you smoking again? God damn it. Touched by Fire by Patricia Briggs. It's a paperback. It's coming for $9.99. Let's learn about the book. Mercy Thompson has been hailed as a heroine who always remains true to herself. Oh, God, you just blew in my face again. Now she's back, and she'll soon discover that what the fey stock of the human world is the children who suffer. Tensions between the Fae and the humans are coming to a head, and when Coyote shapeshifter Mercy and her alpha werewolf mate, Adam, are called upon to stop a rampaging troll, they find themselves with something that could be used to make the Fae back down and forestall an all-out war. A human child stolen long ago by the Fae. Defying the most powerful werewolf in history. I got another stream. And with humans and the Fae, Mercy, Adam, and their pack choose to protect the boy no matter what the cost. But who will protect them? From a boy who is fire-touched? That's Fire Touched by Patricia Briggs.
It sounds like your butthole's fire-touched.
God damn it. I hate high nurses. This is the mass market paperback, $9.99, published on the January 31st, 2017, 320 pages. Why is this an upcoming book? Is it like reissued? Okay, well, came out not long after my previous divorce. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Bookshop.org, Hudson Booksellers, Powell's, Target, and Walmart. I'm done peeing, nurse. Can you guide me back to my bed?
Yeah, just don't flush. I gotta look at it.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Oh man, my legs are weak. They're real weak.
So reach out with that right hand and grab onto the bed rail.
I'm gonna grab the book instead. As I try to ease my body back into this hospital bed, which is mildly uncomfortable. If you could adjust it for me, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm gonna need you to scoot up a little bit closer.
I'm not. I'm busy trying to entertain this.
The higher up you sit, the more.
I smiled. I thought to myself, Mr. Rochester is peculiar. He seems to forget that he pays me 30 pounds per annum for receiving his orders.
Let me
the smile is very well, said he, catching instantly the passing expression. But speak too.
You can stay here.
I was thinking, sir, that very few masters would trouble themselves to inquire whether or not their paid subordinates were piqued and hurt by their orders.
Push the button if you need anything.
All right, fine. Just fuck off. Paid subordinates? What? You are my paid subordinate, are you? Oh, yes, I've had forgotten that salary. Well, then, on that mercenary ground, will you agree to let me hector a little? No, sir, not on that ground, but on the ground that you did forget it, and that you care. Whether or not a dependent is comfortable in his dependency. I agree heartily. However, you consent to dispense with a great many conversational forms of phrases without thinking that the omission arises from insolence. I am sure, sir, I should never mistake informality with insolence. One I rather like. The other, nothing freeborn would submit to even for a salary. God, this is hell on earth. This conversation is the worst conversation I've ever had to read my entire life. Humbug! Most things a freeborn will submit to anything for a salary. Therefore, keep to yourself and don't venture on generalities of which you are intensely ignorant. However, I mentally shake hands with you for your answer. Who says that? I mentally shake hands with you for your answer. Despite its inaccuracy, it is much for the manner in which it was said as for the substance of the speech. The manner was frank and sincere. One does not often see such a manner. No, on the contrary, affection or coldness or stupid, coarse-minded misapprehension of one's meaning are the usual rewards of candor. Not 3 in 3,000 raw schoolgirl governesses would have answered me as you have just done. But I don't mean to flatter you. If you are cast in a different mold to the majority, it is no merit of yours. Nature did it, yeah? And then, after all, I go too fast in my conclusions. For what I yet know, you may be no better than the rest, and you may have intolerable defects to your counterbalance for a few good points. And so may you, I thought. My eye met his as the idea crossed my mind. He seemed to read the glance, answering as if his importance had been spoken as well as imagined. Yes, you're right, said he. I have plenty of faults of my own. I know it, yeah, and I don't wish to palliate them, I assure you. God wot, I need not to be too severe about others. I have a past existence, a series of deeds, a color of life to contemplate within my own breast, which might well call my sneers and censures from my neighbors to myself. I startled, or rather, for like other defaulters, I like to lay half the blame on ill-fortune devised circumstances, was thrust on to a wrong tack at the age of 1 and 20, and have never recovered the right course since. But I might have been very different. I might have been as good as you, wiser, almost as stainless. I envy you and your peace of mind, your clean conscience, your unpolluted memory. Little girl, a memory without blot or contamination must be an exquisite treasure, an inexhaustible source of pure refreshment. Is it not? How was your memory when you were 18, sir? All right, then. Limpid, sublurious, no gush or bilge water and turned into fetid puddle. yeah, very clever. And I was your equal at 18. Oh, quite your equal. Nature meant me to be, on a whole, a good man. Miss Eyre, one of the better kind, and you will see I am not so. You would say, oh, you don't see it. At least I flatter myself. I read as much in your eye. Beware, by the by, that you express with that organ. I am quick at interpreting its language. And then take my word for it. I am not a villain. You are not to suppose that. Not to attribute me with any kind of bad evidence, but owing, I verily believe, rather to circumstance than to my natural bent, I am trite, commonplace, cinder, hackneyed in all the poor petty dispositions with which the rich and the worthless try to put on life. Oh, do you wonder that I avow this to you? No, that in the course of your future life you will often find yourself elected to the involuntary confidant of your acquaintances' secrets. Oh, people will instinctively find out, as I have done, that it is not your forte to tell of yourself. God, this is laborious. But to listen while others talk of themselves. Oh, they will feel, too, that you listen with no malevolent scorn of your indiscretion, but with a kind of innate sympathy. Not the less comforting and encouraging because it is very unobtrusive in its manifestations. Oh, God, how do you know? How can you guess all this, sir? I know it well. Therefore, I proceed almost as freely as if I were writing my thoughts in a diary. Oh, you would say I should have been superior to my circumstances, or so I should. So I should. But you see, I was not. When fate wronged me, I had not the wisdom to remain cool. I turned desperate, and then I denigrated. Now, when any vicious simpleton excites my disgust by its paltry ribaldry, I cannot flatter myself that I am better than he. I am forced to confess that that he and I are on a level, and I wish I had stood firm. God knows I do. Dread remorse when you are tempted, Miss Eyre. Remorse is the poison of life. Repentance is said to be its cure, sir. Oh, it's not its cure. Reformation may be its cure, but I could reform. I have strength for that, but we're the use of thinking it, hampered, burdened, cursed as I am. Besides, such happiness is irrevocably, I can't say that word, denied me. I have a right to get a pleasure out of life, and I will get it, cost what it may. Then you will dedicate still more, sir. Possibly. Yeah, why should I? I can get some sweet, fresh pleasure. And I may get as sweet and fresh as the wild honey the bee gathers on the moor. It will sting, but it will taste bitter, sir. How do you know? Oh, you never tried it. How very serious, how solemn you look. Oh, you are as ignorant of the matter as the cameo had. Taking one from the mantelpiece. You have no right to preach me, you neophyte, that you have not passed the porch of life and are absolutely unacquainted with its mysteries. I only remind you of your own words, sir. You said error brought remorse, that you pronounced remorse the poison of existence. Oh, and who talks of error now? Oh, I scarcely think the notion that flitted across my brain was an error. I believe it was an inspiration rather than temptation, and it was very genial, very soothing, and I know that. Oh, here it comes again. It's no devil, I assure you. Or if it be, it has put on the robes of an angel of light. And I think I must admit so fair a guess is when the entrance to my heart. Distrust it, sir. It's not a true angel. Once more, how do you know? By what instinct do you pretend to distinguish between a fallen seraph of the abyss and a messenger from the eternal throne? Between a guide and a seducer? Oh, I judge by your countenance, sir, which was troubled when you said the suggestion returned upon you. I feel sure it will work you more misery if you listen to it. Oh, not at all. It bears the most gracious message in the world. For the rest, you are not my conscience keeper, so don't make yourself uneasy. Here, come in, bonny wanderer. He said this as if he had spoke to a vision, viewless to any eye but his own, then, folding his arms, which he had half extended on his chest, seemed to enclose in their embrace the invisible being. Now, he continued, again addressing me, I have received the pilgrim, a disguised deity, I verily believe. Already it has done me good. My heart was a sort of charnel, it will now be a shrine. To speak truth, sir, I don't understand you at all. I cannot keep up with the conversation because it's got out of my depth. Only one thing I know. You said you were not as good as you should like to be and that you regretted your own imperfection. One thing I can comprehend. You intimated that you have a sullied memory, was a perpetual bane, and it seems to me that you have tried hard. You would in time find it possible to become what you yourself would approve. And that if from this day you began with the resolution to correct your thoughts and actions, you would in a few years have laid up a new and stainless store of recollections to which you might revert with pleasure. Justly thought. Yeah, rightly said, Miss Eyre. And at this moment I am paving hell with energy. Sir, I am lying down with good intentions, which I believe durable as flint. Certainly, my associates and pursuits shall be other than they've been. And better. So much better as pure ore is than foul dross. Yeah, you seem to doubt me, but I don't doubt myself. I know that my aim is, or what my motives are, or what my moment I pass as law, unalterable as the Medes and the Persians, and that both are right. It cannot be, sir. If they require a new statute to legalize them, they are, Miss Eyre, though they absolutely require a new statute. Unheard of combinations of circumstances demand unheard of rules. Sounds like a dangerous maxim, sir, because no one can see at once that it is liable to abuse. Sensuous sage! I say again, sensuous sage! So it is, but I swear by my household, God's not to abuse it. Human and fallible. Oh, I am, and so are you. What then? Well, the human and the fallible should not arrogate a power which the divine and the perfect alone could be safely entrusted. What power? That the saying of any strange and sanctious line of action, let it be right. Let it be right. The very words. You pronounce them. May it be then, I said as I rose, deeming it useless to continue a discourse which was all darkness to me, and besides, sensible to the character of my interlocutor. I'm not going to look that up. I don't care. I'm so fucking sick. I'm so tired. It was beyond my penetration, at least beyond its present reach, and feeling the uncertainty, the vague sense of insecurity which accompanies a conviction of ignorance. What are you doing? To put Adele to bed. It's past her bedtime. Are you afraid of me? Because I talk like a sphinx? Your language is enigmatical, sir. But though I am bewildered, I am certainly not afraid. You are afraid. Your self-love dreads a blunder. In that sense, I do feel apprehensive. I have no wish to talk nonsense. If you did, you'd be in such a grave, quiet manner. I should mistake it for sense. Do you never laugh, Miss Eyre? Don't trouble yourself to answer. I can see you laugh rarely, but you can laugh very merrily. Believe me, you are not naturally austere. And more, I am not naturally vicious. The low-wood constraint still clings to you somewhat, controlling your features, muffling your voice, and restricting your limbs. And you fear the presence of a man and a brother, or father, or master, or what you will, to smile too gaily, to speak too freely, or to move too quickly. But in time, I think you will learn to be natural with me, as I find it impossible to be conventional with you. Oh, yeah, your looks, and your movements will have more vivacity and a variety than they dare offer now. I see at intervals the glance of a curious sort of bird through the close-set bars of a cage. A vivid, restless, resolute captive is there. Were it free, it would soar cloud high. You are still bent on going? It has struck 9, sir. Never mind. Wait a minute. Adele is not ready to go to bed yet. My position, Miss Eyre, with my back to the fire and with my face to the room, favors observation. While talking to you, I have also occasionally watched Adele. I have my own reasons for thinking her a curious study. Reasons that I may, nay, that I shall impart on you someday. As she pulled out her box about 10 minutes ago, a little pink silk frock, rapture lit her face as she unfolded it. Coquetry, it runs in her blood. It blends with her brains and seasons the marrow of her bones. Il faut que je le sais, something. And she, it instant meme. She rushed out of the room. She is now with Sophie, undergoing a robing process. In a few minutes, she will re-enter, and I know what I shall see. A miniature of Celine Varens, and she will be used to appear on the boards rising up, but never mind that. However, my tenderest feelings are about to receive a shock. Such is my presentiment. Stay now to see whether it shall be realized. Ere long, Adele's little foot was heard tripping across the hall. She entered, transformed as her guardian had predicted, a dress of rose-colored satin, very short and as full in the skirt as it could be gathered, replaced by the brown frock she had previously worn. A wreath of rosebuds circled in her forehead, and her feet were dressed in silk stockings and small white satin sandals. They literally put a wreath of rosebuds on her head before she goes to bed. Oh, goddamn, more French. Est-ce qui ma va bien? Cried she, bounding forwards. Et mes souliers, et mes bas, tenez, je crois que je vais danser. And spreading out her dress, she chassed across the room, till, having reached Mr. Rochester, she wheeled lightly round before him, tiptoe, and then dropped on one knee at his feet, exclaiming, Monsieur, je vous remercie, mille fois de votre bonté. Then rising, she added, C'est comme de cela que man, falsate, insist, si passe, monsieur. Precisely, was the answer. And Kamasila, she was charmed. My English gold out of my British breeches pocket. I have been to Miss Eyre, a green grass. Not a more vernal tint freshens you now than once freshened me. My spring is gone, however, and it has left me that French floweret on my hands, which in some moods I would fain to be rid of, not valuing now the root whence it sprang, having found that it was a sort of which nothing but gold dust could manure. Oh, gold dust could manure. Okay, fine. But half liking to the blossom, especially when it looks so artificial as just now, I keep it and rear it, rather on the Roman Catholic principle of expiating. I'm done. I'm so sick. I'm so tired. Numerous sins, great or small. By one good work, I'll explain all this someday. A good night. Burp. That's the end of the chapter. My God, that was annoying as hell. Why don't we just review right now what the hell we just read? She got to talk to Mr. Rochester for a long time, and it turns out Mr. Rochester is an old idiot. And he's trying to impress her by being, like, dark and confusing and accusing her of not being very bright, but also being bright at the same time. And he keeps showing his giant forehead to her, which I guess she finds attractive. Obviously, in this story, she's going to, like, wind up marrying him or something. But he's the most annoying human being I've ever read in my entire life. I hope she doesn't marry him. I hope that the author is aware of how annoying this person is that she wrote about. Well, that's it. I've been in this hospital for a long time, and I'm ready to go to sleep. So why don't you get me to the White Claw, and then just get the hell out of here, because I want to go to bed. I want to sleep off this shitty cold. Maybe I'll see you next week. Well, it appears you found me in the part of the podcast I hate the most, where I tell you all about the places on the internet where you can find me. You can tell I hate this because of the sound effects making it sound like a stormy night in the drawing room of the damned. Now, are you cool? I like cool people. It's the reason why I got involved in this business to begin with, just to meet cool people, not losers. So if you're cool, feel free to go over to my website, nuzzlehouse.com. Don't bother looking for us on social media, because we've given it all up after the election with how evil everyone is from Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I shut it all down. But you can find us on Blue Sky, nuzzlehouse.bsky.com. I don't know. We got a Christmas album on our website, which we should do. Everyone should do when they get married, make a Christmas album. We got Just Stay the Curious Mind, where we make paranormal smut, Masterpiece Auditorium review books, and Two Things, One Cup with Elton from Elton Reads a Book a Week. And since I think you might be cool, you can always just email me directly, glenn.nuzzles@gmail.com. But don't email if you're a nerdlinger or a dork. Now, back to business. I can't believe I drank all of them already. There's got to be one left.